All right. So for this lesson, I'm just going to work through making a couple of these questions using headings in the table of contents. And I'm going to work through this. I'll work through it with you. So I will give some prompts that you can then fill out. You will need to either have your language notebook ready to do some writing, or you can open this in Notability, uh, the material. I call it turning the tables. So we're returning headings from the table of contents or from throughout the book into research questions. So let's go ahead and give that a try. So I have this book here, Bringing Back the Wolves, How a Predator Restored an Ecosystem, written by Jude Isabel, illustrated by Kim Smith. This is a beautiful book. I was really excited to share this book with you. It's about the ecosystem of Yellowstone National Park, how it lost its gray wolves, and then how bringing that predator back changed things in that ecosystem. Very cool story. So to begin with here, we are going to um, take a look at the table of contents. So the table of contents is going to tell us, what is inside this book. So here we're just going to see a list of headings, really. And these are the headings that we're going to turn into questions. So I'm just going to read through a couple of them here. Again, I'm skimming, which is something a reader does when they want to get a little bit of information about a lot of things, or when they want to look for something. So I'm not reading, in this case I'll be reading them, but if I'm skimming through a book or scanning through a book, I'm not reading every word, I'm just looking for keywords. In this case I'm looking for headings. The table of contents, it says, an unintentional experiment, taming the wild, the food web, silence in the valley, portrait of a wolf. So I'm going to choose a couple of these headings that seem especially maybe intriguing or interesting to me, and I'm going to use those to sort of guide my work today and turn some of those headings into research questions. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to start here with, I'm going to jump right to a heading. Let's do Silence in the Valley. So that's the fourth heading here that I see. Beautiful illustrations in this book. I really love this book. Silence in the Valley. So, Silence in the Valley. Now, I'm not sure what this book is about yet, so I'm going to do just a little bit of pre-reading here, just to get some clues about what this section is about. What is this heading all about? So it says it's 1995. At the valley bottom of Yellowstone's northern range, a herd of 300 to 500 elk are grazing. Okay, I'm going to skim ahead a little bit here. In this place, there are too many of these ungulates, at least 20,000. That's 5 times more than the number of elk that munched their way across the landscape in 1968. Okay, so why are there so many elk in Yellowstone National Park? There's obviously too many. There's my research question. Why are there so many elk in Yellowstone Valley? So that is going to be my my first research question here. So Silence in the Valley is the name of the heading. So let's go ahead and, so for heading number 1, now, again, you can follow along with me here just to fill out these first couple headings just for practice. I'm going to have you do a few more of these on your own when we're done with this. So the heading here is Silence in the Valley. Silence in the Valley. Okay, why is there silence in the valley? Why was it so quiet in the valley? Why were there so many elk? I think those are both great questions. All right. Why did it become so quiet in the valley? Where's my question word in this question? Where's the question word in this question? The question word is right here on top. Why? Who, what, where, why, when, and how. These are the question words that we're going to use to frame our research questions. The other question I had was, why are there so many elk in the valley? All right, why are there so many elk in the valley? So just a couple questions. Now, if I'm doing some research, now I have some questions to guide my research and to guide my writing as I'm taking notes and as I'm doing some writing to answer that question. All right, so I'm going to go now back to my book here, and I'm going to go back to the table of contents. Let's see here. Portrait of a wolf, predator moves in, tree transformation, a predator moves in. Oh, that sounds like a cool heading. I'm going to look for that book, that page. Portrait of a wolf. Ooh, portrait of a wolf. This is cool. Let's learn a little bit about wolves. So what is this section about? Let's take a look at this picture. What does the picture show you? So here I'm going to guide you a little bit less. I'm going to ask you some questions. I would like you to answer those questions either to yourself or to someone you're with here. So take a look. What do you notice when you look at this picture? What do you notice the lines pointing at? What do you notice these words are telling us? I'm going to read a few of these. Eyes are yellow with the inner corners slanting downward. Keen vision can pinpoint prey. The muzzle is long and broad, the better for smelling. Under the top layer of fur, they have another denser layer for insulation. When traveling, wolves trot at about the speed of a human jogger, 5 to 7 miles per hour. A long, bushy tail helps with balance. Wolves are carnivores. They have carnassial teeth. These 4 teeth crush, shear, grab, cut, tear apart flesh. What is this section about? You might have thought this section is about the parts of a wolf or adaptations that wolves have to survive in the harsh wilderness as a predator. So what's a question that we can ask? So if we know that it's about adaptations, how a wolf is adapted, what is a question we can ask? And what we want is we want a question, let's think about if this section is kind of the answer, what question would we ask that this section would answer for us? So I'm going to start this out with my heading, which is Portrait of a Wolf. Portrait of a wolf. And the question I'm asking now, so can we make a question? So I'm going to prompt you here for the question. I'm going to say how. Can you think of a how question that this section would answer? Let's think about that a little bit. How have wolves? Can you finish that sentence? Think about what kind of question relates or restates this section, this heading. How have wolves adapted to what? What should we say? How have wolves adapted to survive in Yellowstone Park? And what do we need at the end of our question? We need a question mark. How have wolves adapted to survive in Yellowstone Park? So here we've restated the section, we've restated the heading, Portrait of a Wolf. So this is all about wolves and what they look like and their bodies, into a question. All right, so these are just a couple examples of how we can restate headings into research questions. So I would like you to go ahead and try that with a few of the books that I've shared, or a different book if you have a different example that you would like to share. And by the time you're done with this, you're going to want to have, let's see here, so I'm going to have you do the other three, so 3 more questions on your own. So choose a book, find the table of contents and the headings, and turn those headings into research questions. We'll be using this technique tomorrow for your work. And most importantly, have some fun with this, and I can't wait to see what you come up with.